Exodus chapter 2, verse 11. And it says, "And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren, and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren." Now, as Brother Mike had read, he read that it says that Moses was learned in all wisdom of the Egyptians, and was mighty in words and in deeds. And when he was full 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. Now here we see something about Moses. I mean, Moses, of course, he was put into the water. They were killing all the Hebrews, and he was put into the water. And of course, Pharaoh's daughter came and took him and took him up for his own. And as we learn in Acts chapter 7, verse 22, he was learned in all wisdom of the Egyptians, and mighty in words and in deeds. I mean, he was born under Pharaoh's roof. He had all the advantages. It says, he had all wisdom. He had all the world's wisdom, the worldly wisdom that anyone can have. And it said that not only did he have all the wisdom, but he was mighty in words and deeds. Yet we see something here. In verse 23, it says, "And when he was full 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel." Although he had everything, although he had great riches, we can assume that, although he had probably a great job, although he can have, he probably can have anybody, anything he wanted. Any of the ladies he wanted, any of the jobs, like they didn't have cars back then, the chariots he wanted, anything. He could have anything he wanted, any job he wanted. He had it all. He had all the world's riches at his expense. He was mighty in word and deed. He had everything. But it came into his heart, it says, that visited the children of Israel. Something was missing. Something was missing. And Moses, he knew something was missing. He wanted to visit the children of Israel. He wanted to. And in a sense, I believe that when you look at this, if you turn in your Bibles, if you keep a place mark in Exodus chapter 2, as we turn to Hebrews chapter 12. Hebrews chapter 12. And it says in Hebrews 12, verse 1, Hebrews 12, 1. "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God." Amen. Now, what I want to focus on from this verse in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1, it says, "Let us run with patience the race that is set before us." Now, I believe that Moses, when he wanted, and when it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel, he knew that, I believe that there was something that God wanted him to do. He knew that there was a purpose greater than having all the riches and being mighty in word and deed. He knew there was a purpose beyond the flesh, beyond the worldly needs. And I believe that he knew that he needed to start and run that race. I mean, he, in a sense, he probably had some understanding of the Old Testament, of some of what they knew about Jesus, about how he would come. I mean, he probably had it in his heart that there would be a Savior, that there would be a Christ, that there would be a Messiah, and that would happen, and it would take away their sins. And he knew he needed to do something, in a sense. I mean, to set that up, to set that in place. He had this longing. I mean, he knew he needed to run that race. And I think that a lot of it as us. Now, how many people exercise? How many people exercise? How many people one time in their life exercise? I know at one point unfortunately, I don't exercise as much as I used to. Unfortunately, I'm exercising. I'm trying to exercise my work. I work myself unto godliness, right? Bodily exercise, probably a little bit rather exercise myself unto godliness. But face it, bodily exercise doesn't really profit. I mean, no one wants to be out of shape, right? But you know, I'm trying to exercise myself to the godliness. Unfortunately, some things. Anyway, I'm just making a lot of getting off here on a tangent. But the bottom line is, there's been time in my life, especially when I wasn't saved, I wanted to get in shape. I wanted to get in shape. I was like, I was sick. I'm feeling sluggish. I wanted to feel like I was in shape. I wanted my body to feel alive. I've been kind of slacking a couple times. Really, I have a hard time to just do everything. And there's been a couple times where I went running one day, and the next day I felt like a million bucks. Waking up, I felt like a different man. I felt completely different. And I believe that Moses realized that something was missing. And it says he needed to get into shape. He needed to have a real sense of satisfaction in life, that there was something missing. And it's the same with us. When we knew that we got saved, even as saved Christians, sometimes we realize we're getting a little out of shape. We're getting a little content. We're getting a little lackadaisical. We're getting a little, maybe we're not growing enough. But Moses, he knows, he came into his heart to visit the children of Israel. Came into his heart to do that. Now it says, as it continue on in Exodus chapter 2, verse 12. Exodus chapter 2, verse 12. Now we're going to just backtrack here. We're going to read verse 11 again. And it came to pass in those days that when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens, and he has espied an Egyptian smiting in Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. Now, this is pretty wild. I mean, Moses here, he wants to do something. He wants to visit his children. He came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. And here he is. He goes out and smites an Egyptian, who is in a sense, mistreating one of these Israelites. He goes out and goes to that degree. I mean, this is pretty much wild. This is like, what happened here? Who's this guy? He comes out of the word. You're probably thinking, what happened? Now, moving on, continue on, Exodus chapter 2, verse 13. And when he went out the second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews strove together, and he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? This is Moses talking. And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killest the Egyptian? And Moses feared, saying, surely this thing is known. Now when Pharaoh heard the thing, he sought to slay Moses, but Moses fled from his face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by the well. Now, if going back to Acts chapter 7, verse 24 again. Acts chapter 7, verse 24. And it says about Moses, and seeing what the men suffered wrong, he defended him and avenged him that was oppressed and smote the Egyptian. For he supposed his brethren would have understood how that God by his hand would deliver them, but they understood not. And I think that us as Christians, sometimes we get off on this thing. When we get saved, we want to give everybody the gospel. We want to just kind of turn the world upside down right away. Even as a church, you want to just, in a sense, you're hoping, these things are just told, everyone's going to understand what it is you're trying to do. Everyone's going to understand that they need to be saved. And Moses, he thought when he would smite that I think when Moses thought when he would smite that Egyptian, that he thought that everyone was just going to, like Israel's going to be like, yeah, you are our deliverer. We got to fight back. We got to fight back. We got to do something right now. I mean, he was just totally premature. Like Moses, he wanted to do something, but I think he went out too far first. I mean, that wasn't right to take a man's life. It wasn't right to do that. And in a sense, so when you think about getting in shape, you don't want to put yourself to think that you have to do everything right away. As you become a Christian, it takes time to grow. It takes time to make those. It takes time to start reading your Bible. Some people who haven't read their Bible, I was talking to Channel, I was trying to get him to read the Bible. But for some people who haven't read the Bible, it's hard to just get going. It's hard to get going. That's why you have to take those small steps. You have to take in the sense of small steps towards doing that. Some people, the small step that they need to take is they need to come to church. Unfortunately, those people aren't really here to hear that now. Unfortunately, sometimes that's that small step. The small step might be to go out and just go out soul winning and be a silent partner. Not necessarily talk to people, but to do that, or to go out and drive people to church or whatever. But we need to know that those small steps we take get us somewhere greater. I think about just getting in shape. I remember when I was about 23 years old, I wanted to go running again, and I told myself I'm just going to go run. I'm going to just go try and go running 5 minutes a few times a week. And I go out and I said I can live with that. How many people go running? How many people have ever gone running? Isn't it? It's tiring, right? I remember as a kid, and I was like 12 years old, and we had to run for 12 minutes as a kid. And our teacher was like a runner. She was like, she loved to run. She goes, you gotta run 12 minutes. And I was like, I mean, you think a 12-year-old would be able to run, right? I mean, I was just dying. I mean, I hated it. She's like, run. It used to be like a slave master. She's kind of like a little whacked at some teachers, right? She's a little whacked at the time. She got better. Anyway, I was like, man, so I thought about, I want to get in shape. I should run. And, I was thinking about, whoa, how am I going to run 12 minutes? I can run. So I said, can I run 5 minutes? And just not stop? I'm like, yeah, I think I can do that. So I rid out, and I'm just going to just try to run 5 minutes and not stop. And the next thing you know, I'm running, a little bit more than 5 minutes that time, only a little 7. And then I tried it again a couple days later. Next thing you know, I'm running like, 30, 35, 40 minutes. I remember I got out of it again, and years later I started off. And then I kind of had the same philosophy. I just go off 5 minutes. Next thing you know, I was like 25. I was going out running like an hour 3 times a week or 70 minutes. And I was saying it was just nothing. It was easy if you start off. It was just starting off small. So when we think about that, this Christian life, we got to run the race of this Christian life. We have to run that race. And that race, in a sense, is not just a sprint. It's a marathon. And it all starts with the small things that we do. It all starts, as before I got saved, I started reading the Bible. And I started off with the New Testament. Then I was like, I need to read the Old Testament. And it's the Old Testament. How many of you read the Old Testament? Was that easy to read when you first started reading it? No. It wasn't, right? It wasn't. Now, I started off with Job, probably the easiest book you can start with. I loved it. And then I remember I think Judges was the second one. I had such a hard time. It wasn't that I wasn't used to reading. I wasn't even saved at the time, so that makes it more difficult. But you know what? I eventually, I did small, step by step. And eventually I was reading the Bible time after time. It just, it starts to compound. We start off small and we build bigger. And Moses, let's face it, do you think Moses was starting off small here? I mean, he thought, it says that, when he thought, he supposed his brethren would have understood how God would have delivered them. Sorry, in Acts 7:25 it says, for he supposed his brethren would have understood how that God by his hand would deliver them, but they understood not. They understood not. Moses, really, he started off too large, in a sense. Now, if you continue Exodus chapter 3, verse 1, Exodus chapter 3, verse 1. Exodus chapter 3, verse 1. It says, now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and he came to the mountain of God, even Horeb, and the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burned. And when the Lord saw that and turned aside to see, God called him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. He said, here am I. Now, I think a lot of people, they don't really understand, exactly what's going on in the book of Exodus. Just kind of read, and there's just like a bunch of action. I mean, we have Moses, and next thing you know, you see an angel and a good and burning bush. Next thing you know, he's taking out the children of people, Israel out of Egypt, and all this stuff is happening. But what happened here? It took 40 years, in a sense, for Moses to realize that God wanted him to do something. He thought that his brethren understood that he would be their deliverer. So he knew something was going on. It took him 40 years to just kind of understand it. Some of us, it could take us a long time just to be saved. But when you got saved, you knew that God had destined you to do that. God had meant for that to happen. And since God had predestined you to say, he predestined everyone to be saved. He wants everybody to be saved. But it sometimes takes a while to figure out that. And sometimes when you get saved, you think, hey, I'm going to turn the world upside down right now, today. All of a sudden, I'm going to go out and all these people are going to get saved. My whole family, everybody. They're all going to see how great Jesus is. And Moses, I believe, he had that same idea. He thought that, hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get Israel to go and rebel against Pharaoh, and we're going to get out of here. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen. He didn't happen at all. In fact, he took somebody's life and he had to leave and he was gone for 40 years. For 40 years, he was out in a strange land. He married somebody who wasn't even a Hebrew, and we don't even know what's going on during those 40 years. The Bible doesn't talk about it. We have a 40-year lapse here in the book of Exodus. A 40-year lapse where I believe God was working on Moses and preparing him to do something unbelievable, something great. And that's the thing that we need to realize, that sometimes God, through those quiet times, sometimes God, when there's not a lot of action happening in our life, might be preparing us to do something great. He might be putting us to the test. Amen. Now, in a sense, when you look at the number 40, and 40 is kind of significant. If you look at the number 40, in the sense that 40, if you look at the Bible, in a sense, it's a time of probation, a time of testing, a time of trial. If you think about Jesus was tempted 40 days by the devil in the wilderness. In a sense, this 40 years of Moses took 40 years for him to realize that he was somebody, that God wanted to use him, and he spent 40 years in a sense realizing he's nobody. When he tried to be somebody, nothing happened. It took some of you that God put in his heart that he would be a deliverer, but when he tried to step out, nobody listened to him. Sometimes when you step out and give people the gospel, nobody listens to you. Your family doesn't listen to you. Sometimes we're out knocking doors. Yesterday we had a great day, but sometimes we're out knocking doors and nobody hears you. Nobody listens to you. You feel like it's quiet. Hey, somebody, sometimes it happens. It's in a test. God's testing. God's testing. God's trying to make you a new man. God's trying to put you to the test. God's trying to put you through the furnace of fire. And that was the time of struggle, probably, for Moses when he was out 40 years, hiding. First of all, not only did he grew up probably wondering who his father is, who his mother is. He knew them at a young age. He grew up in Pharaoh's house, and Pharaoh's daughter had taken him in. And he had to leave because he took someone's life. He's out in a strange land. I don't know, maybe he's a shepherd. Maybe he's just, I don't know what he was doing. It doesn't really talk about much what he was doing. But he probably wondered, what's the purpose of my life? Some people probably the purpose of their life. He's probably wondering that, right? Now, think about this too. When you look at 40, in a sense, this Christian life is much like a marathon. It's much like a marathon. How many people, does anyone run a marathon in here? Would anyone want to run a marathon in here? No. Does anyone know how long a marathon is? 26 miles. 26 miles, which is I think about 42 kilometers. We see this number 40 again. It's like a time. In a sense, a marathon is it's a trial. It's a marathon in a sense. If you look at a marathon, you look at what the Bible says about 40 years being a time of probation, a time of testing, a time of trial. Running a marathon, that's a trial. You don't even know here. Those people, these guys. If I was going to run a marathon, I'd be like, I just want to finish. I just want to finish that 40 kilometers. I don't want to fall. And in a sense, this Christian life is much like a marathon. It is much like a marathon. But we got to run it. We got to run it. We got to run it. Now, If you turn to Exodus chapter 5, verse 1, Exodus chapter 5, verse 1. Exodus chapter 5, verse 1. And as before we go there, just to get an idea of, of some of the things, I'm not saying this to try to brag or anything like that, but I had a hard time reading the Old Testament before I got saved. I had a hard time reading the Bible, to be honest. And then, but eventually, I got saved, and I said I got to finish the whole Bible. I finished the whole Bible. I was about halfway done, a little less. I finished the whole Bible pretty quickly at that point. And then I literally went on the next 6 years to read it 24 times. And I memorized 79 chapters of the Bible. And I started in 2012, and I got that finished in 2017. And not to say that that's good. When I started running, I started running 5 minutes, and the next thing you know, I'm running an hour. I'm not doing that anymore anyway. But the thing is, when you start doing something, and you keep doing it, even if it's a little bit, it starts to compound. It starts to build up, and it all starts with that little bit. It all starts with that something. It all starts with this, I'm just going to read some of the Bible. I'm just going to finish a book of the Bible. I'm just gonna try to read the New Testament in a couple months, a few months. It all starts with that little bit. It all starts with I'm just gonna go out knocking on doors and give you the gospel. I'm just gonna be a silent partner. I'm just gonna stay silent. I did that for months, for almost 6 months. I went with my friend and I just let him do most of the dirty work, and then just kind of stood about. I did some of the worst, but then that's a long time to not really take the lead on it, to really kind of hope it. I was like, I hope he talks. You know what I mean? Let him do it. I'm a little nervous. I went out times I went out by myself. He was like, you want to split up? I'm like, maybe I should take this challenge. I went out by myself. I was nervous. Oh man, I'm in a tough neighborhood here. They don't want to do the gospel. Just a little bit, by a little bit, by a little bit, and it all builds up. It all builds up. Now Moses, you think about Moses, we're going to go into the story, but when he sees the angel, God has spoken to him out of the burning bush, and he says that Moses was told that he was going to be delivered, and he was going to deliver Israel out of Egypt. And was Moses ready to take it on? Was he scared? He was scared. He was scared. He was like, I don't want to do it. Sent by the hand of whom I will now will send. He was scared. He didn't want to do it. He didn't think he could do it. Even though he was a man, mighty in word and deed. I mean, he had all the ability to do it, but he was scared. He was scared. You know what? As it says, something kind of happened. Now, Exodus chapter 5, verse 1. This man was scared. He was scared just like we're scared sometimes to do that next thing God wants us to do. Sometimes we're scared to do that. But it says in Exodus chapter 5, verse 1, and afterward Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, God of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness. In Exodus chapter 10, verse 3, if you can turn there quickly. And it says, and Moses and Aaron came in unto Pharaoh and said unto him, thus saith the Lord God of the Hebrews, how long wilt thou refuse to humble thyself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me. In Exodus 7:16, it says, and thou shalt say unto him, the Lord God of the Hebrews hath sent me unto thee, saying, let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness, and behold, hitherto thou wouldst not hear. In Exodus 8:1, it says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh, and say unto him, thus saith the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. And I believe both those times they follow, just like they followed in Exodus 5:1, and Exodus 10:3, going unto Pharaoh, saying, let my people go. I believe that in Exodus 7:16 and Exodus 8:1, they also, in all likelihood, went and told Pharaoh, hey, let my people go. They challenged the greatest king, the greatest man in the world. I mean, someone who could have took their life, saying, let my people go, that they may serve the Lord. And someday, you might be able to be the one who goes and tells somebody in a great position, let my people go, that they may serve the Lord Jesus, and we will not bow down to the devil. and we will not do that. But guess what? With Moses, it didn't just happen in one day. He didn't just wake up one morning and do that thing. It took him 80 years to get there. That's right. And God had to try him. God challenged him. He stepped out and he thought, hey, I'm going to be a deliverer. When he finally came, he had great expectations, great hope that something would happen now, that they would see that. But they didn't see it. And he went out too far. And he went too far taking someone's life. The children of Israel didn't believe that he would be that deliverer. They didn't want to follow him. And he had to get out of there. And for 40 years of silence, 40 years walking with God, testing him, trying him, maybe he had to get to a point in his life where he said, nothing. My life is nothing unless I do something great for God. My life is nothing unless I do something great for God. And I think that sometimes you can never get there unless you realize that everything we have is dumb. All the worldly possessions we have is nothing. We want the treasures in heaven. We want to think about the things that we did here on earth when we died, the sacrifices we made. We want to be like the great man God, the great man like Stephen, challenging until he was stoned and rebuking the Pharisees and trying to get them saved. But we want to be like Jesus. He endured all suffering so we can die on the cross. No one can ever be like him. But we want to be like those great men of God. We want to be like Moses and Aaron, who said to Pharaoh, let my people go, that they can serve me in the wilderness. But that won't happen unless we start running. That won't happen unless we get on that marathon. That 40 kilometers of trial and probation and testing. That can't happen unless we can get the race. And that it won't. It won't happen. That great thing that you want to be in heaven. When you're in heaven, all you'll probably have to, I don't know exactly what to think about it, but you will think about, what did I do here on earth? You will think about that. And that if you did something great, I mean, it's just a good job. Yeah, God used me to do something on you. God, and you know, there's only so many Moses. You might think, oh, I can't do something. Well, God, what you do, you don't know the impact of the thing. You know, the little things done, right? The little things, Gordon drove a lot of people to church. Those little things that they mount up. Brother Mike preaching at St. George Manor, those people have nobody else to preach the word of God to. These little things, they mount up and they get bigger as you continue on and try to do more. Try to do more. It picks up. It builds up. God will continue to use you. Continue to use you. Now, in Exodus chapter 4, verse 24. Exodus 4, 24. And you think about what you want to do to run. How do you run a marathon? How many people would run a marathon with a piece of pizza on their hands? Does anyone? Because we get hungry, right? You don't have a piece of pizza, right? How many people How many people want to run a marathon in heavy clothing when it's hot outside? Probably not, right? I don't think I want to. I remember dressing. You don't want to undress. Now, Exodus chapter 4:24. And it says here, this is a crazy part of the Bible that I tried to look at study Bibles to try to figure out what's going on. And I never heard anybody really explain it. So I'm going to go read that. And it says, now this is when Moses is on his way back, when he's on his way to do the job that God wanted him to do, and to go get people out of Israel out of Egypt. He's on his way. He's with his wife. And it says in verse 24, and it came to pass by the way in the inn that the Lord met him and sought to kill him. This is Moses talking about. Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet and said, surely a bloody husband art thou to me. So he let him go. Then she said, a bloody husband thou art, because of the circumcision. I don't know what in the world is happening here. But this, I believe, is completely talking about Moses. In Acts 24:24, it says, "And it came to pass by the way in the end that the Lord met him and sought to kill him." Then his wife basically, flips out on him, calling a bloody husband thou art because of the circumcision. I mean, I don't know what's going on here except Moses is being challenged. He's being challenged. I don't know, maybe Moses was hesitating about what God wanted him to do. And maybe he was really being challenged at that point. And his wife, wasn't exactly being a supportive wife at that point. But at this point, you never see Moses' wife again until they're out of there. I got it from this story. That was probably his wife probably stayed back. His wife came with their kids later on after the Exodus, after they got out of there. When you think about it now, I'm sure his wife was a great wife in some senses, but in some sense, if you want to run a good race, you got to dump that dead weight. You got to dump those people who aren't supporting you. You got to obviously dump the world that is not going to allow you to move forward, that is not going to allow you to go on that marathon, that is not going to, is making it harder for you to run that marathon. Those other Christians who aren't being supportive to what your vision is. I've seen people say, you got to dump those people. And you got to go. They'll come back. They'll come back when they see you're doing something great. And you got to, if you want to run that marathon, you got to dump dead weight. You got to your family members out there who will never understand that you want to see people saved. Who will never understand that you want to take the time out to give people the gospel, to go to church, to drive people to church, to read your Bible, to try to serve God. Hey, you just got to dump them down and just be like Moses and his wife. Unfortunately, I'm not saying dump your wife, right? But Moses, he had to go on his own here. He had to go on his own. He was being challenged. He had to go on his own. I believe his wife doesn't come back until later on. We got to do the same thing. How many people here? How many people heard about Alice Cooper? Anyone know Alice Cooper? Yeah. Alice Cooper. I was watching something on YouTube, and I seen that he's like saying he was saved, and he was very confident about it. And he said, I grew up in a Baptist home. My grandfather was a preacher. My dad was an evangelist. And he says that he believes he's saved. He says, being a Christian, it doesn't make your life easier. You're an outcast. And he was saying all these things, but when you think about it, he's going to go back and become him if he is saved. I hope he is. He seems very confident about it. I'm not saying he's not. I'm wondering why. How can you be saved in that lifestyle? Really, there's questions. That's a lot of question marks going off there. But assuming that he is saved, and he's going to look back at his life, he never really ran a race. He didn't run a race. He went for the riches of this world, and he did not run that race. And when he dies, he's going to have nothing to think about. Nothing to think about that he did great for God. Nothing at all. Very little. Very little, right? Now, we got to dump that dead weight. Now, think about it. When we turn to Exodus chapter 5, verse 20, Exodus chapter 5, verse 20. Exodus 5:20. Exodus 5:20. And it says, Exodus 5:20. And they met Moses and Aaron, who stood in the ways as they came forth from Pharaoh. And they said unto them, the Lord look upon you and judge, because ye have made our Savior to be abhorred in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of the servants, to put a sword in their hand. And Moses returned unto the Lord. And said, Lord, wherefore hast thou so evil entreated this people? Why is it that thou hast sent me? For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in thy name, he hath done evil to this people. Neither hath he delivered thy people at all. When you start running on this race, this Christian race, even if you think of something, those people who run, anyone that started running, you got cramp. You got to start to get this cramp like right here, right? Anyone know what I'm talking about? It's this cramp right here. And it's just like, I gotta stop. I can't continue. I can't do this. This is too painful. And you're running and the cramp just hurts. It hurts. And all you want to do when you got that grant is you just want to stop. I mean, you just want to stop. You know that you can't stop. What you got to do is you just got to keep running anyway with the grant there and hope it goes away. And this is when Moses was sent out with Aaron to get the people of Egypt out. When he was sent out, the people, when Pharaoh didn't do it immediately, the people started to get angry at him. Because their life got harder. Their life got harder. They made them, before they could get straw to make a brick, and then they had to get their own straw, but they couldn't get straw, so they got stubble, and they had to work way harder when Pharaoh said, let the people go. And just like the Christian life, just like when we tell other people, we try to get other people saved, or get them in church and stay in church, and they want the Christian life to be all easy, and sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it can be harder than the unsaved, than being unsaved. But the overall, it's undeniable, it's better. And that's where the rich are. But there will be challenges. And the thing is, when we're faced with that challenge, when we're on that marathon in a sense, we're going to have that grant. It's going to come. It's inevitable. You're going to have a grant and you're going to hit something in your Christian life where it's going to feel like, hey, I'm not going to what am I? I just hold the talent. I'm not good. God can't use me. I'm just, even though I'm saved by the blood, I cannot change my life the way that God wants me to change it. I'm a failure to God. I mean, the devil will use that. He can say, hey, you're a failure to God. You haven't done anything for God. You're in the flesh too often. You think you're in this, you think you're saved, you think well, if you're saved, you be in the Spirit constantly. You're going to have those cramps. Those cramps are going to come. Well, as we see here in Exodus, when that cramp came, that could be fun, right? When you're Moses and Aaron, and people are upset and angry at you, and their life is now harder being Christian. Some people's life might get harder when they get saved. God might have to bring them through something. They might lose someone might lose a spouse. Someone might lose a job. Someone might lose something. You might have to go through that to get something better. Now think about that grant. Now it says in Exodus chapter 6, verse 1, then the Lord said to Moses, this is after the people had just got angry at Pharaoh. Just got angry at Moses. Then the Lord said to Moses, now shalt thou see what I will do to Pharaoh. For with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his hand. And of course, when that grant comes, when Moses had petitioned God and that grant came, and God delivered them. God delivered them out of that. That grant did not last forever. That grant was just only temporary. Grant was just temporary. Now, if you turn your Bibles to 2 Timothy chapter 4, 2 Timothy chapter 4. Acts chapter 20. Acts chapter 20, verse 20. It says in Acts 20:20, it says, and how I have kept back nothing that was profitable unto you, but I have showed you and have taught you publicly and from house to house, testifying to the Jews and also to the Greeks, repentance towards God and faith toward our Lord Jesus Christ. And now behold, I go bound in the Spirit unto Jerusalem, not knowing the things that shall befall me there, save the Holy Ghost witnesses in every city, saying that bonds and afflictions abide me. But none of these things move me, neither count on my life dear unto myself, that I might finish my course with joy in the ministry which I received in the Lord Jesus, to testify the gospel of grace of God. And Paul, what he's saying here, he wanted to finish his course. He wanted to finish his course with joy. He had his mind on where he wanted to be. He had his mind on the things he wanted to do. So when we want to think of, when we're going through those struggles, when we're running this marathon, this Christian life, have your mind on where you want to be. Have your mind on God put something in your heart about something you think He wants you to do. Have your mind on that course, that thing He wants you to accomplish. That will get you through the tough times. Have your mind on those things. Don't have your mind on the doubts. Don't have your mind on the pain. Have your mind on that victory that you want to have. Those people you want to see saved. Don't have your mind on where you're going to be when you die, when you're in heaven, thinking about your life. Keep your mind on those things. Keep your mind on those things. And of course, if you turn now to, as we wrap up, turn up to Numbers chapter 20. Numbers chapter 20, verse 2. Numbers chapter 20, verse 22. And it says, Numbers chapter 20, verse 2, and there was no water for the congregation as they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. And just drop down to verse 20, verse 7. So there's no, at this time, there's a situation where in Numbers, there was no water for the children of Israel. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take thy rod and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak unto them, Speak ye unto the rock before their eyes, and shall give forth his water. And thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock. So thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink. And Moses took the rod before the Lord as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch water out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand with his rod, and he smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and the beasts also. Now here we see a situation where Moses is challenged by the people. He's told to speak unto the rock, and that it'll bring out water, because they had no water. But what Moses does is he smites the rock twice. He says that, he says in verse Numbers 20:10, it says, And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you out water out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand with his rod, and smote the rock twice. I mean, he was not sanctifying God. God said to speak of the rock and give water. And then Moses uses this chance to try to, in a sense, take his anger out on the children of Israel for frustrating him. And he acts, he doesn't sanctify God. He messes up. What he does here costs him his life. He does not get to go to the promised land, is what he did here. Aaron was also, he also had his life cost because of this incident, because they did not sanctify God in the children of Israel's eyes. They were just supposed to speak on the rock, not yell at them and say, Must we fetch water out of this rock, and act like it's their power. He messed up big time by bringing in God. But now he messed up when he was being challenged by people. And the devil will use people, right, to get under your weak spots. And sometimes even a great man like Moses will fall. But the bottom line, when you fall, you just keep going. If you fall out of that race, just keep going. If something happens that puts you out of that race, just get up and keep going. We are just men. And we just got to rely on God's power, go to forgiveness, and just keep running that race. Let's pray. Dear Lord God, Lord Jesus, please bless the rest of our day today.